Hello and welcome back to Drax's Builds, and we're going to continue on with the Gundam of the Day series today. Now, we're starting today with a custom build, unlike last time when we started with a straight out of the box build. This build here is my own personal Gundam. It's one that I put together with a bunch of different kits. In fact, you can just call it a kit bash. And today I wanted to go over with you what makes a kit bash different than a full build. So we're going to go over the build quality, how fun it is, the difficulty, the posability, weapons and accessories that come along with it, as well as ultimately the customization. So to get started, let's talk about what this build used to be. And as you can see in the back here, I've got a couple different boxes that display a few different Gundams that this was used off of. And to give you an idea of what this one is based off of mainly, this is going to be mainly built off of the Gundam EX-ASTREA Repair 2, as well as the Gundam EX-ASTREA. So, the Gundam EX-ASTREA and the Gundam EX-ASTREA Repair 2. They're basically a prototype suit and a fully realized suit. So it's basically the beginning and end of what we saw with the 00 series when it comes to terms of the story that we've got going on in the story. And what we want to really focus on today, though, is how it was to build these. Now, straight up out the kit, out the box, these are pretty fun, easy enough to build. I'll probably give them about a 2 or 3 out of 5 stars on when it comes to actually having to build these and how difficult it is to put them together. So it's not too difficult of a kit to really put together, and you get something decent with a high grade. You get a pretty good kit overall. It's pretty comic accurate or manga anime accurate, whatever you would like to go by. But you do still have some customizations and stuff you could do out of the box. But first, let's talk about the build quality. Overall, build quality is pretty good. It's a pretty sturdy kit. It holds its poses pretty well, and it does need minor help when it comes to like keeping the joints tight and things of that nature. And the reason that I say it needs minor help is because these arms and elbow areas can get very, very loose over the years. In fact, I've had to go through with this kit and really repaint a lot of those sections just to give them back some of that rigidity that it had when the kit was brand new. And while that is not a something that's going to keep me from buying a 00 branded kit or something of the similar type of build, it is something to keep in mind when you're going ahead and building your kits up, because they do wear down over time. Plastic is plastic, and plastic will break, and it is what it is with that. It just has a bit of erosion. So you can reinforce it with some top coat, or maybe I personally like to use a glossy acrylic because it adds a little bit of extra friction to it. And somehow, I'm not sure. Don't ask me chemicals. I'm not I don't do that. But overall, the kit does hold up pretty well, and honestly, like I said, this is a fully customized kit, so it's going to hold up a little better than something that you might get built straight out of the box, especially when it comes to doing stuff like posability. But posability also comes down to what kits you're using. Now, using the Gundam 00 kits to build up my own personal EX-ASTREA, EX-ASTREA, I believe I named this one the GN001 RE, which would be the Gundam EX-ASTREA Repair. That's my special name for it, and honestly, I really like it. It's kind of complicated, but it does pretty much give out the idea of what I was trying to get with this kit. And what I was trying to get with this kit was a what if EX-ASTREA was put together with a little bit of extra stuff, like its GN Sword 3 had a bit of extra color thrown in, so it didn't look like it was just wearing a blue and white t-shirt with some white pants. Come on, man, you know you're going to spill something on it, and then you're just going to end up with tomato sauce everywhere. Nobody wants that. So I put the tomato sauce on myself and colored in his knees and some of these little extra things on the sides there. But let's go ahead and talk about this posability. As you can see, we can pose this guy pretty well. It's pretty sturdy overall once you've got it all built up. Its legs don't have the widest range of movement, and that's mostly at the hip area, but it does offer some other great posability type of things. And excuse me for tripping over my words there. But honestly, you get a bunch of different ways that you can put this together. It's got a bunch of moving parts that give you a bunch of different like just areas to improve on when it comes to taking your photos and doing your poses and things of that nature. And when you want to talk about posable, we've got a very good kit for all of that posability. He's got all these different joints and things like that, things that'll allow you to move them around and give them just a little bit of extra oomph, get you all of those extra angles that you're looking for. And honestly, these types of kits are hard to find a bad angle on. And honestly, these kits are just great for posing and getting that next beautiful shot because they offer some dynamic ranges, they offer some great angles, and they also offer some great things when it comes to customization. So we'll get to the customization later, but let's go ahead and talk about some of the weapons and stuff that you're going to go ahead and get with some of these kits like this. Now, previously we saw the EX-ASTREA double O, not the EX-ASTREA. And with that kit, it just had some basic sword pieces and a shield, right? So this one is a little different, right? The ASTREA came with these awesome things called the shoulder-mounted bazookas, as well as this little rifle here. Because it wasn't a prototype, it didn't have the GN sword gun combination thing that you get later on. And as with most other Gundam kits, you know, you get your beam sabers and stuff like that. What makes these a little special, though, is that since the EX-ASTREA was using something called the Seven Sword system, it actually had multiple beam sabers and multiple other weapons. So it started with, and these are from the real grade kit. Don't think these are going to come shiny when you get them out of a high grade. But with the real grade kit, you also end up getting the rest of the other weapons that the EX-ASTREAs had, which would be these two other GN swords. You get your two beam sabers and two beam daggers. These were supposed to be like mid-range throwing weapons or whatever, right? But they come with all of these different pieces. Each of the blades of the beam sabers does separate, so you can have empty hilts as well. Like you see on the back here, you can just attach them to the back of the Gundam so that they add to that extra bit of like, oh, this ain't my only weapon. Don't worry, I'm coming for you one way or another. It's one of those types of builds. That's what the 00 series was about. And they were like, we may be out of options, or we may be out of weapons, but we ain't out of options. They always had an option on the table. And that's what these kind of kits provided you. And to give you an idea that these weapons are still usable on this kit, I'm about to show you right now. So when you start kit bashing stuff together, you end up with stuff like this, where you can just add a little extra bit of depth or some extra bit of weaponry to your Gundam to throw it into another level. So we throw on an extra bit of pieces here and there, and it makes the Gundam look just that much more threatening. And that's what I really like about kit bashing, right? Because you can take different pieces and parts, you can throw them on, and sometimes if it's the right Gundam, because this can't be done with all of them, that's exactly why I used a 00 kit to a 00 kit to create a very custom 00 style kit. Each one of these pieces from these different suits will communicate with each other. That way you don't have to do a bunch of custom fabbing and things like that. You can just take some pieces off, like that little fin that I took off of the chest piece there, and throw on an extra accessory to give your Gundam just that bit much more of a flex, I guess. So that gives you an idea of what the posability, some of the accessories, and about how some of them will work and connect to a piece of a 00 kit like this. They all pretty much have decent instruction manuals inside to tell you how everything breaks down. But to give you an idea now on customization, let's go over some of the pieces that made it in and did not make it in. First, we're talk about the parts that didn't make it in. Now, we've got quite a few things that are left over from the original build of the ASTREA Gundam, like these legs here. They have some of the exposed EX-ASTREA ribbons here, which are power transfer cables and stuff like that, that kind of add to the not really finished build quality of the prototype suits, as well as this chest piece here. And as you can see, it's very undetailed and not very fleshed out. It's kind of giving a basic type of feel to it, right? But this suit also ends up becoming something amazing because we got to see what it became with the regular EX-ASTREA, the 00 as we saw earlier, and then what we end up with here. Now, As you can see, all these extra pieces, the background pieces, backpack pieces and things of that nature, mostly unpainted. That's how they come out of the box. That's why I wanted to customize this. In fact, I left a piece on the runner just so you could see. This is straight out of the box. Honestly, boring. That's not what I wanted. I wanted something to look fantastic, to look amazing, to give us some type of extra feel. And that's where I went ahead with this customization. And I went so far as to paint so many different things. Like we're looking at the head here. We got a painted V-fin, cheeks up into the headliner there. We've got some gray bits to accentuate some of those shadows and as well as give it a little bit more depth. And then we move on over to the shoulder. And the shoulder has extra color separation. We throw that red on there to give you an outline idea. We throw that black in there to show you where the separation of the armor pieces are. We throw that blue on there just to kind of tie in the rest of the armor all together. And you move on to the chest and we throw in some of these details here with the red because I didn't feel like they added enough red to this primarily white and blue prototype-esque suit. But that's why we're upgrading it, right? We're turning it from a prototype into a fully built war machine. And now we've got this beautiful little bit of added extras here with these knees and these side pieces. These here provided us with a little bit of extra red to follow through like the rest of the suit. Now it communicates, you know? You keep that color running all the way throughout and it gives the suit somewhat of a tie-in to each other. It doesn't feel like it's just wearing a pair of white pants with a blue and red top, you know? And that's what I wanted here. So I went ahead and I customized all of that. We went through and we painted all of these different things, made sure all of my extra details that I could pop out are popping out. So we got the green here to signify the energy that's coming through the rest of the suit, as well as we go around to the back. And now we've got some green following through into the backpack. We've got some gray on the center part of the turbine or the condenser. And then we put some more grays and some more greens down here to keep the theme running through of this energy and this and these color schemes that they were going so well. Like they went so far out with the rest of the design and then they left the color so bland. So I decided to increase on that and give it just that much more of a presence, because that's what you're looking for when you're looking for presence. You want something to stand out on the shelf, and nothing can do better than that when you customize it yourself. So just wanted to give you guys a little idea of how doing a full customized Gundam would feel, what it would look like, and about, honestly, it may have taken me realistically about a week to get everything all together for this Gundam to be fully built in the space that it's in now, just to figure out where I wanted all the parts to go, how I wanted the colors to look, making sure that everything was in the positions that I wanted it to be, and to reinforce everything, drying times, all of that took about a week. But I also had all of these kits built, so if I was building them straight from scratch, if I was doing the build as a straight up, I'm building this kit straight out of the box and I decide I want to do some customization, I don't know. It could be easier. We can find that out on the channel together. But until then, this has been Gundam of the Day, and thank you for stopping by the channel.